Hare Krishna. Question: if God created everything, then who created God? Answer: this question operates on a misunderstanding about the conception of God. Suppose a child reads a novel for the first time, and in the novel, say there is a fairy tale, there is a hero, there is a heroine, there is a villain, and the child reads the full story and enjoys the story, and after that child comes to know there is an author of the story. Then the child starts looking at the book and looking at the story to find out where is the author in the book. Now, the author does not exist in the book. The author created the timeline, the storyline, the characters, the plot, but the author exists outside the storyline and timeline of the storybook. So similarly, God is the creator of everything, but God exists outside the fabric of time and space. So, because God exists outside the fabric of time and space, and within the fabric of time and space, there is the chain of creation of cause and effect. So sadasat tat param yat. The Bhagavad Gita says that cause and effect, this chain, God exists beyond that. Sadasat tat param yat. In 13.12 Bhagavad Gita states that. So that is the first point. That once we understand the definition of God, that He exists beyond this chain of material causes and effects. And that's why to ask who created God is to misunderstand the very nature of God. Now, another way to look at this is from the point of view of logic. Now, the definition of God is that He is sarvakarana karanam, the cause of all causes. So, now, even from the point of view of pure logic, the cause of all causes cannot have a cause. Because if we say the cause of all causes has a cause, then the cause of that cause of all causes becomes the cause of all causes. And then we can ask the question, who is the cause of that? So, do we have an infinite regression like this, where we have no end at all? We just keep going backward, perpetually? But no, if there is a definition that there is a cause of all causes, then the point where this chain stops, that point will be God. So, to ask what is the cause of God or who created God is to misunderstand the very definition of God. Sometimes we may think of God as just some image that is there in a temple. Now, yes, God who is omnipotent and omnipresent manifests through that image. But God is much greater. If we consider God as just an image in a temple, then we can raise the question, who created God? But when we understand that the God who created everything, who is the source of everything, aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartati. The Bhagavad Gita states that I am the source of everything. So that God is the cause of all causes. And when we come to the point of the cause of all causes, we have to put aside our normal conceptions and accept that there is something beyond the chain of causes which is the ultimate cause. And now what that ultimate cause is the question. So now if we reject the theistic assertion that God is the cause of all causes, then we have to turn towards an atheistic assertion. And what does atheism tell us? That everything began from the explosion of a singularity. Now, a singularity, which is supposed to be something that has no mathematical description, is not mathematically or physically not mathematically describable, is not physically realizable. It is beyond all conceptions of space and time. So, that singularity, believing in such a singularity, is also a call for belief, akin to belief in God. And worst of all, that chunk of matter which exploded, that chunk of matter had no consciousness. So if there is just a heap of material lying somewhere, that cannot organize itself into a building. But if there is an intelligent builder, he can organize itself into a building. So similarly, if we posit that the original cause of all causes is a conscious intelligent being, then it's much more according to our experience that intelligent being can organize and create things. But if we assume that the original beginning is just a chunk of matter, then we don't have any experience that because matter is insentient, it doesn't organize itself. So the atheistic story is basically something existed and it somehow exploded because of something, and that something resulted in everything because of some explosion. So it's basically no answer at all. Atheism offers us explanations that don't explain. Because why that something existed, how that something exploded, and from that something everything came about, these are questions which remain unanswered, and we just have to accept the atheistic fairy tale. And the most fundamental question is, how did that something come from? We could always turn this question around and say that, okay, this everything began from the singularity. Where did that singularity come from? So now some atheists try to work around this by saying that there is a universe and there is an anti-universe, and just as -2 and +2 can come from 0, so like that anti-universe and universe have come out. But then the vacuum from which everything has exploded, that's what scientists or atheists talk about, that vacuum is not a simple 0. It is a complex quantum mechanical vacuum that requires pages and pages and pages of abstract mathematics to describe itself. So it is certainly not nothing. It is quite a lot of something. So therefore, we come to a logical dead end. We come to explanations that don't explain if we go in the atheistic track way in trying to find out what is the cause of all causes. But when we turn on the tread on the theistic track way, then we come to a logical understanding that there is a super intelligent conscious being, and he has created the whole world, and he is the uncreated creator of everything. He is the causeless cause of all causes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.